Of course, my important plans are finishing this cozy autumnal Bucketgirl animation, where she's just relaxing on a park bench, with her coffee, and a leaf falls out of the tree and lands on her head. So the things I need to do are ink and color Bucketgirl, and ink and color each frame of her swinging legs. And then I need to ink and color each frame of the falling leaf. And it's only 5 frames for her legs, but I think it's 42 frames for her leaf. 42 frames for the leaf falling, which is is going to take a minute. So we'll see how much I can get done in, I don't know, the next 40 minutes or so. I'm really enjoying making these animations and bringing Bucketgirl to life. I just find it very fun to see her moving around. It makes her feel like a real character, which is the whole goal of all of these things, is to kind of develop Bucketgirl into a fully realized character, and see what she gets up to, what her personality is like, what the world is like that she lives in. And it's just a way to, explore my own emotions and my own experience of the world, but through this fun, cute character. The other reason I like animations is because you don't have to do that much shading or coloring of the character, because it's frame by frame. The more detail you apply to each frame, it exponentially increases the amount of work you have to do. And so you can get away with keeping things very simple for each of the frames, which I actually prefer. I think I took a big break from creating Bucketgirl artwork, and a large part of that was doing all of the shading work on illustrations. It was really stressing me out, actually. I found it quite difficult. And I don't really know why. I mean, on this particular piece, I put a lot of effort into shading the environment, and that I find fun because I can be quite loose with it. But for whatever reason, I lose that sense of looseness and flexibility when I'm working on a character. So anyway, I like doing the simple block colors for the moving Bucketgirl character, and more heavily rendered backgrounds. I'm enjoying that now. This particular park bench is in Regent's Park in London, which is a really beautiful place to go in autumn at this time of year. Just like in the illustration, the leaves completely cover the ground. They're very yellow in Regent's Park. So it's a nice place to sit when we're not having a very wet autumn, which we haven't had this year, actually. We had a wet summer, but autumn's been very crisp and bright and really pleasant, actually. It's been lovely. Okay, so here we go. Frame by frame, each of the swinging legs. And this is really, this tracing work is really a bit meditative actually. You just kind of get into the groove of it and you just go over each frame. So I quite like this process. And the fun thing about doing these short animations for Instagram or for social media is that they loop, so you actually don't need to do that many frames to make a fun little loop. So I'm pulling off a bit of color from the sky and I'm gonna desaturate it and then use that to color Bucketgirl's bucket. Before I used to just use the exact same shade of gray for every single bucket that I colored, but now I tend to take a little bit of color from the environment and use that as a base, so that the grey is either a little warmer or a little cooler depending on where Bucketgirl is, and I find that helps integrate her into the scene a little better. So for this one I'm going for more warm autumnal tones, so there's a little bit of orange. It's like in the base color, I guess.
Single way, your smile reminds me. In every single way, your smile reminds me. In every single way, your smile reminds me of the perfect day.
And Bucketgirl wouldn't be complete without her rusty, rosy cheeks. So again, I'm taking a shade of orange from the environment, so from the fallen leaves, and using those for her rusty cheeks. Again, the idea is to keep the colors harmonious and make Bucketgirl integrate into the scene a little better. But there's still like a particular shade of rust, I think, that works best for Bucketgirl. So this is a little orange. There needs to be a bit of red in there, I think, just to make them look rosy, but also rusty and I don't know, just good for Bucketgirl. So maybe a little bit more red, I think is needed. Another thing I've learned to do more recently is to use grayscale to check the color values. So I just created a shortcut on my iPad where if you triple tap the power button, it goes the whole screen goes grayscale, which helps me check the values, the color values. So I'm experimenting to see how her coat is contrasting with the environment, and part of me thinks that the coat should be a lighter contrast because your eye is drawn to brighter areas, but it's blending in with the park bench too much. So I think it's more important that there's a good contrast with the bench. So this lighter shade of red is actually not working very well for me. You know, it's technically brighter, but the sky is bright, her bucket is bright. It's all starting to look a little washed out, so I would rather darken up her coat and increase the contrast more. I think if the image has a good amount of contrast in it, it generally looks better. I used to do a lot of animating in Procreate. I would say that is my drawing app of choice. But I've started doing animations in Fresco just because the interface is a lot easier to quickly add little animations, because you can just add a new layer, and then within that layer you get your own animation timeline, so it's not built off of call it like all the layers in Procreate contribute a single frame to the whole animation, whereas in Fresco any individual layer has its own animation timeline, and so you can create separate animations within a single piece. So it's easy for me to just say each of these legs is its own layer and its own separate animation, and then the falling leaf is on its own layer and that's its own separate animation. So it makes it easier to get your head around what's going on, whereas in Procreate the feet and the leaf would have to be on the same, they'd have to be in the same group. I'm not explaining it very well, but it's a bit messier in Procreate. So I'm doing it in Fresco. Fresco has this feature called Paint Inside, and so you can paint in, you can change your brush so that it doesn't paint over the lines, it paints inside the lines like the name implies. And so I hadn't really tested this out, but I was just relying on it, and I'm kind of realizing here that actually it maybe because of the brush I'm using, it's got slightly feathered edges, and so it's creating this really janky fill color, which doesn't look very good. And I think I can kind of get away with it because this is just going to go on social media, and so the resolution doesn't need to be that good. But the perfectionist in me also really doesn't like it, so I'm going to have to kind of paint over the edges a little bit, and then I'll paint the lines back in. And it wouldn't be me doing an art project without me doing it and doing the same work like 3 or 4 times over. I'm so slow. I take so long to do these things, mostly because I do something and it doesn't really work, or it doesn't look that good, and I do it again, and then I have to do it again and again. So yeah, this is me redrawing the lines that I've already drawn because it didn't look that good. And then yeah, I was going to give her laces, but now I think it would look better if her boots were black, so I'm just going to fill the whole boot in and then just leave a little shine on the toe so she can have these nice shiny black boots, which I think complements her outfit really well. One of the things I've found as I've drawn Bucketgirl over the years is that I find it really fun to make her kind of a fashionable little bucket. She's such a silly thing to be a bucket walking around, but it's fun to dress her up. And I've been thinking about what her uniform should be. I feel like she should have a standard uniform that is her default look, and then it's fun to dress her up in other things depending on the situation. But I haven't figured out what that standard look should be. You know, like Winnie the Pooh has his red t-shirt, and Mario has his dungarees, and who else is there? I don't know. Sailor Moon has that kind of schoolgirl outfit. I'm not really familiar with Sailor Moon, to be honest, but yeah, I feel like having a standard costume is a good thing. It's a strong look for a character, but I'm not really sure what it should be yet. I quite like the idea of a red coat, but I also like the idea of dungarees for Bucketgirl, because part of the thing I've discovered as I've been drawing her more is that actually it doesn't make sense for a bucket to be able to just wear regular clothes. Like the neckline wouldn't work. You wouldn't be able to just pull a sweater or a t-shirt on over a bucket without it getting stretched out and ruined. But dungarees, on the other hand, that makes a lot of sense. Like she can clip those on around her neck, around her shoulders, and not have to worry about her weird shaped head. So I'm leaning towards dungarees, actually. I think dungarees, and it's a cute look, for like yeah, and it's a cute look. So I think I'm gonna go, at the moment I'm thinking dungarees. But of course, in autumn, it's a little bit colder. You need to have some more layers, so hence the red coat, which I also like. But I need to come up with like a story reason for her to always wear a red coat, I think, which I haven't got yet. So just getting to this point with finishing the legs and colouring them in, doing all the line work and the boots and all that kind of stuff has taken 40-ish minutes, and I'm tired now, so I'm not going to do the leaf right now. I need to take a break, because 42 frames of a leaf is probably going to take me another 90 minutes or something insane. Animation is definitely a labour of love. Then once I finish those frames, my process is then actually to take the individual frames and import them into After Effects and do a little post-production work on it, apply some effects and change the timings a little bit and make it loop and all that kind of good stuff. So I then need to import it into After Effects. So that'll be the next couple things I do. But by the time you're watching this video, it will be done and you can see it on Bucketgirl's Instagram. So that's all linked below if you want to check it out. But anyway, I hope you've enjoyed the video, and if you've been working along, I hope you got a good amount of work done yourself, and I'll catch you in the next one. Ciao for now.